I met the oddest couple this morning, and I'm still trying to figure out why they got married in the first place. Travel can broaden your horizons and make a marriage more interesting, but today's globe-trotting wife seems to love the journey much more than she loves her husband.
Divorce court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Nicholas Ochs and Shauna Harris. The two of you have been married for 2 years. You do not want to be married anymore. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ochs. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your relationship and why we're here in divorce court today?
Love to. Let's see, I think it was about 3 years ago we met. I was a Marine and I was in Hawaii, and Shauna had just moved there herself. We were out dancing. We hit off great one night in Waikiki, and it's really been started off pretty well. Eventually, we got married in Las Vegas, moved back to Hawaii, had some fun, but at some point it fell apart after that.
Why did it fall apart?
Well, I'm not really sure, but Shauna has not been around much in recent times. She's been traveling the world, and I've not been traveling with her.
Okay. Ms. Harris, is that accurate?
Pretty much.
He says you've been traveling the world. Where have you been?
Thailand, Dubai, and New Zealand, Australia, across the U.S.
You can hang out with her. She's having a good time. You're having a wonderful time. Now, when you travel, is this solely for pleasure? Is it for work? Is it a combination of the two?
For pleasure, for the most part. And then when I got to New Zealand, I got a business opportunity, well, idea. And I kind of decided to stay longer after coming back. And
how much of the 2-year period that you've been married have you spent away from him traveling?
Most of them were short trips. So the only one that was, the most recent one was the only one I was doing for a long time. So they were like, the longest I spent was 30 days in Thailand, but I think he was away at the same time.
Do you feel that she doesn't take you into consideration when she travels? I mean, like, I got a wife, but she's never here. Is that the concern you have?
That's a concern. I think I'd be more of a consideration if I were traveling with her.
Do you not travel with her because you don't want to, because you can't, or because she don't want you to?
Well, I think it's a little of both. It depends on the situation. Before, I obviously couldn't be in the Marine Corps.
Right.
But now I'm out, and she's across the world. It's been a bit difficult.
Do you take him into consideration when you make your travel plans?
I just thought it would be easier if I was on my own. For some reason, I don't know.
Because I never
knew
this, Ms.
exactly.
Harris, why did you marry? If you want, you know, my sister travels. She's just like you, all over there. She's just a lot shorter, and but she's not married, so she's not leaving anybody behind. When you got married, did you believe that you would have to curtail what you did on your own a little bit in order to accommodate the marriage?
I did, yeah. Like, once I get my heart set on a place, I kind of just think, oh, I'll just go there for a short bit and I'll come back. Because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do when I get there. And it's always hard for other people. That's why I've always traveled alone. Because if you don't have an actual plan of what you're going to do when you get there, or the process you're going to take, I take the cheapest route sometimes, and then I get there and I kind of just either I relax or I'll go and do hiking. Nick doesn't want to do hiking, and he doesn't want to do
Before you two got married, did you sit down and talk about how you wanted your marriage to work? I mean, what it was going to be like being married? People get that, oh, I'm in love, I'm going to get married. But they don't talk about what their plans are, how they want to live, what they want to do. Did you guys do that?
To an extent, yes. We talked about our living arrangements and...
Well, what conclusions did you come to?
Well, that I was going to stay in Hawaii for a certain amount of time, but I did tell him that I don't want to be here after a few years. I was going to want to do more travel and live somewhere else. And once it got out of the Marine Corps, we were supposed to do more travels together, but then he said he wanted to go to school. And knowing that, I was just like, how am I going to travel and you have to stay for school? That's what I'm trying to say.
Was it a change in plans on your part that precluded you from participating in the marriage and the style that you two had originally agreed upon?
Yeah, I don't think she did count on that extra year in Hawaii. And I'm certainly willing to relocate. Maybe we can come to a compromise and say, if you got to spend another couple of months in Hawaii, that wouldn't be the end of the world. It gets me time to get where I'm going. She can go wherever she wants.
So other than the travel, what are the issues that the two of you are having? Or is that it?
I'll start there.
Okay.
Nick smokes and does chew and cigars, and it's just
nasty.
It never stopped for after a while. I was just like, are you gonna try? And then he got the electronic cigarette. And I was like, oh, that's a good start, electronic cigarettes. But you can't have a pack of cigarettes in one hand and your electronic cigarette in this hand, and there's a cigar lit outside, and it's like, I know you need to relax because I know it's a very stressful, way of life sometimes in Hawaii, but I couldn't deal with it.
Are you drowning in tobacco
so
products, Mr. Ochs?
Oh. No, she's absolutely right. I'm a nicotine fiend. However, I have switched to nicotine gum in recent days. Mm-hmm. To be fair to Shauna, I'm not giving.
It's way too late. Like recent days, okay.
Recent
What
days.
about last year when I was actually asking about? Well, 2 years ago even.
Well, that's because I was in the Marine Corps. It's a stressful life, and I'm not giving up the cigars. That's off the table.
Well, now I have to say that this to you, Ms. Harris. Marriage is a long ride. You can't expect people to change in a year. The fact that he's changing at all and giving up an addiction, because that's what nicotine is. That speaks towards his commitment to the marriage, I believe.
But you said that you were going to try to quit. I mean, either you quit or you don't. Like,
Well, I mean, he's going to quit. He's quitting the chew and he's quitting the cigarettes. Correct?
Yeah.
Gotta let the man have a cigar. I mean, I don't like cigar smoke either. My husband smokes it. He goes outside. Can't have it in the house. But you gotta let a man, have a few bad habits. You know what I mean? Mr. Ochs, what are your concerns about her, other than the fact that she leaves you and travels so much?
Well, I suppose that is the main issue there. She's wonderful in most every other way. Just like to bridge the distance, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Are you willing to travel a little less, or to take? How do you afford all of that? What do you do for a living?
Well, recently I started a company in New Zealand. It's a social event company, basically. So I have artists that do step-by-step paint instructions in bar and restaurants. So in exchange for the venue space, it's a ticketed event, and they pay for like a drink. So the drink is taken out of taken into account when you actually book an event there.
Yeah, I've done those. Those are fun.
So they didn't have them in New Zealand, and I figured, oh, this is a good opportunity.
Why not?
And that's why I decided to stay.
So does that make it? Is that the money that allows you to travel, or do you have other income?
That's the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then me getting there was my savings, and I guess Nick might have helped at some point.
Now, you should have said that first.
Yeah.
How much help are you giving her to travel? How much money are you paying for her to travel without you?
Well, I'm not paying for that anymore, but when we were still a little bit closer, I would help out in whatever way I could because I wanted to get around the world. Maybe eventually be part of it with her. And to be fair, now I'm not sending her money these days. She's completely made on her own with her own business in a foreign country she's never been to, and that's impressive.
Yeah, very impressive indeed.
I'm cooking, but I also have to clean everything, and I have to do laundry. So all of a sudden, I'm a housewife.
And Mr. Ochs, do you have any comment about that? Mrs. Harris, you say that when you are with him, all he wants to do is have sex.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of normal?
It is, but I think it becomes like not normal when it's like, oh, I just wanted to have dinner, and it's like, oh, but first, let's do this, and I'm just like.
But he likes you.
Relax.
You're never home. You come home. You're looking fine. He looks up. He hasn't seen you in a few weeks.
Oh,
yeah.
at that point, yeah. But then it doesn't have to be 3 times a day. Like that's just excessive.
Are you
wouldn't you
excessive?
agree?
I'll admit to being excessive. She's not exaggerating. I sympathize with her.
Huh?
I sympathize with her.
You didn't back then. It turned into an argument. It was like.
Well, I still want
Then
it.
we had to fight. It was like, if I did more than once, it was like, well, why this and why that? It was like, did I agree to this ahead of time or something? Was this
Well,
written
it wasn't.
somewhere?
His sex drive wasn't new to you. I mean, you understood who he was when you married him, didn't you?
Yeah, and I was the same way. I was always the same. I never changed. It was always like, okay, here and there, once a day. like once a day is like maximum.
You say in general, though, Ms. Harris, that you're just not on the same page as far as your lifestyle concerned. You like to travel. He likes to have a lot of sex. You say the food is off. I mean, how could the food be off?
Nick is a Spam and hot dog and processed food eater. And I am a smoothie, juice, just fruits and vegetables, and no processed foods. I don't even drink soda. So Nick is just the exact opposite. So I tried to incorporate our diets. When we moved in together, I cooked everything. I would try to, I even broke down and made bacon. I can't even say it, but I made bacon. And I would never even, I don't like the smell of bacon. I would put it on the stove and go out on the balcony. I don't even like the smell of it. But marriage is all about sacrifices.
Right.
So I did that. But it wasn't enough. He needed a Spam, he needed this, he needs that. And I just can't stand the smell of certain things. So I would say, cook it yourself. But then that turned into an argument because that turned into, okay, I'm cooking, but I also have to clean everything. And I have to do laundry. So all of a sudden I'm a housewife. I have a job too, you know? I mean, it's not as strenuous as his, God knows it's not, but I just didn't want to have to do everything. I wanted like a housekeeper or something.
Mr. Ochs, do you have any comment about that? I don't know.
My diet is heinous, that's true. But I will say that when she puts those grass clippings in the blender and has that for breakfast, I am just as disgusted. So we're going to perhaps agree to disagree on this one.
Do you cook I mean, everybody could cook their own food. Do you
I cook some mean Spam, that's true.
But you're okay with that, right?
To an extent, she has a point where perhaps I made her a bit more domestic than she wanted to be. But I like that after a long day at work. Yeah, I want my Spam.
Okay. Everybody like what they like, you know?
No, we did have a good time back in the day. I just don't understand. At some point, it kind of went a little bit wrong, I guess.
Do you want to stay married? Have you been living together for years but find that splitting up is as complicated as getting a divorce? Call toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or visit our website at divorcecourt.com. Don't forget to join the conversation on social media. Go to facebook.com/divorcecourt and follow us on Twitter and Instagram @divorcecourt. If you would like your case to be heard on Divorce Court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram @divorcecourt. I know that they say opposites attract, but what I can't understand is how you two got together in the first place, because there doesn't seem to be, especially on your part, any real interest in being with the dude. You know, I mean, so I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ochs. How did you two get together, and why did you think, given your vast differences, it would work out?
Well, you're right, opposites do attract. We both ended up in Hawaii for completely different reasons. She came there on a cruise ship, was doing that job, and just kind of left one day, abandoned ship, and ended up there and made a good life for herself.
What were you doing on the cruise ship?
I was a bartender, bar waiter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you just left in the middle? You just jumped ship?
Well, it's a 5-month contract, and then I did 2 months, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I just got off and in Honolulu. And I gave myself a month to find work. About 3 weeks in, I found a job, and I ended up staying. I went home, and I came back, and then about a month later, I met Nick. And
now, I can see what attracted both of you initially. Very good-looking couple. I mean, just a gorgeous couple. Intelligent people, educated people. I can see all of that. But you don't seem to be terribly interested in being married.
The idea of it, I mean, Nick can make anything sound interesting, sound exciting. So I was just like, when we were together, we had so much fun together, just doing all kinds of things around Hawaii and just enjoying each other. We just like hit it off. He was like this nerdy, weird guy, and I just like guys like that. So just like you say, opposites attract. We were very different. But I like to party, and I got Nick into that. And
Well, Mr. Ochs, how did you think this thing was going to turn out?
I had no idea I was a nerd, first of all.
News to you, right?
Yeah.
Now he's got his beard going because he can have a beard now. Now he doesn't look as much like a nerd, but you were a freaking nerd.
Yeah, the Marine Corps is known for making you look like a nerd, that's true. No, we did have a good time back in the day. I just don't understand. At some point, it kind of went a little bit wrong, I guess.
Do you want to stay married?
I think we should give it a try, absolutely. There's no reason we can't just take off to some far corner
What
of
do
the
you
earth.
need from her in order to stay married?
I guess her presence would be a start.
Good one. Do you care to be present?
I just got used to the idea of not being married, honestly. I just became disinterested after a while, and in between my
Disinterested in
travels-
him or disinterested in the institution of marriage?
And him, yeah. I just became disinterested in Nick, and
I mean, there's a cold wind just blowing from your direction, hit me in the face. I'm not even your dude. Wow.
I told him I want a divorce. I didn't want to be married anymore. I'd rather we stay friends rather than be in a relationship. And I just thought it would be easier than carrying around this weight of having to feel like I have to go back somewhere because I'm just moving forward.
Do you ever miss him when you're gone?
I did, and then I just got so busy I just forgot about everyone, friends, everyone. I just
Okay, gotcha. Court's in session. Do you come in, take off your clothes, and then say,
I do, Your Honor. If you want to touch something, go touch some dishes in there, okay? They got some grease.
He's keeping you from getting any action, huh?
I thought maybe if I get a girl dog for a guy dog, I could get my girl back and my bed back.
Visit our website at divorcecourt.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Divorce Court. Mr. Ochs, you want $2,000 from Ms. Harrison. Why don't you tell me why you believe I should award you that $2,000?
Well, I would like that money in her absence. I have no problem, helping her out in whatever way I can if we're going to do it together. But if we're going to go our separate
What
ways...
is this $2,000 that you've spent already?
Right, plane tickets and things of that
Plane
nature.
ticket,
travel
helping her
expenses.
out.
Sure.
So you're not supposed to help out your wife when we're married? You're not supposed to...
You know what, Ms. Harris? You got your nerve trying to ask him.
First of all,
What? No. Do not speak, Ms. Harris. Ms. Harris, do not speak. You have your nerve trying to point to him and saying, don't you think this is what you ought to do for a wife, when you weren't any kind of wife to him at all. You didn't even think about him. You were gone. You didn't want him with you. You're sick of him. He's this little old nerdy boy. He was fun
That
for a
wasn't the
minute.
whole time.
Hey, don't speak when I'm speaking. And, and then you come out here and just say the coldest crap I have ever heard from anybody. You know what? Don't get married if you don't want to be with, marriage isn't for everybody. Some people should stay single because that's who they are. They are so self-involved that they don't have room for anybody else in their life. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you heartless. It doesn't make you mean. Some of the things that you said in here are a little heartless. But the fact that you don't need to be married is cool. But don't drag somebody into your, if you're solipsistic, just be alone. Mr. Ochs, we're going to get tons of letters and emails like, bring him over here. Here's my number. I like him. As soon as the divorce is signed, they're gonna come running after you. We won't know what to do because you're gonna get all the women in the world looking to get hooked up with you. Mr. Ochs, I can't give you that money because that's something that you did voluntarily, and she does not owe that back to you. But I say live on, live well, and enjoy your life, and, let this chilly sister go. This matter is adjourned. Marriage is not a state of being. It is a living, breathing, growing thing. And in order to make one work, you have to treat it as such. Call us at 1-877-311-2222.